Hello, everyone. You're on SK Live. I'm your host, Indradeel Basu. Today we have Mr. Anshuman Gaikwad, the former coach, captain, player. Sir, thanks a lot for coming on SK Live. How have you been?
Good, Indranil. Absolutely fine. Under these difficult times, I think, just the way it should be. I'm very much at home.
Yeah.
And that's how probably I could come on your show.
Oh, great. So I see a lovely portrait of, is it you in that portrait?
Yes, that's my photograph. And it's an actual photograph. This was against the English team in New Delhi Test match.
Okay.
And somebody had presented me this photograph, and then my wife did a portrait painting out of this.
And sir, it must be little tough staying away from the cricket field because you always make it a point to go to the field.
Yeah, but then under the circumstances, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Whatever situation is, you need to do the best.
Yes. So, even with Indian cricket, I mean, after retiring, you have served in so many roles: coach, captain, selector, manager. Which one has been the most, something which you would really enjoy doing?
Everything, every job was challenging. It all depends on how you want to do it.
Yeah.
If you really want to give your best and get the best results, then I think every job is that much difficult, becomes that much difficult. But out of all that, I think the coaching job was very difficult. Difficult in the sense, you had big stars in the team, Indian team, starting from Tendulkar to Azharuddin to Ganguly to Dravid, Lakshman, then you had Kumble, Srinath, Venkatesh Prasad. So, a whole lot of bunch of boys who had already established themselves.
Absolutely.
And played a lot more than me. So, listen to me, what I'm saying was that much difficult to really explain to them and get them into confidence.
But you carried that aura also, when you stood in front of someone, no one could say no to you. You got that respect also. I mean, you have that aura.
I think it's more than aura or anything. You see, you can't demand respect, I suppose. You have to command respect. And to command respect with these boys who had played a lot more than I had played in my career, it becomes that much difficult. But slowly as you go on, you keep giving them confidence, you keep getting confidence, and then they start, believing in you. Yeah. And that's exactly what it was.
And also earning respect.
Well, that's part of it, I suppose.
Yeah. So you made your debut in Calcutta, and incidentally, your last Test match was also in Calcutta. So you had some special rapport going on with that city.
Well, I always love to be in Calcutta. I don't know why. I like the people, the emotions, and the way they get involved in cricket.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't like to lose because once we lost against England and we were on the floor in the bus because we had stone pelting and whatever because we lost the game. But it's amazing, what follow-up. If you look at 100,000 people in the stadium and as many waiting outside the stadium. So it's amazing city.
So you have if I'm not mistaken, you were the coach in 1999, which India lost to Pakistan, and the way people stood up and gave a standing ovation to a Pakistan team, right? That was something special in Chennai.
99, that was Chennai.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We lost by I think 12 runs, 11 or 12 runs.
Yes, very close. Yes.
We should have won that Test match, but it was very unfortunate. But yes, that's what you're right. And they did appreciate that.
Yeah, that's very important to appreciate. So, which was your favorite cricket ground in India?
Well, difficult. I can't say because I got a 100 in Jalandhar. I got 100 in Kanpur. I got so many 50s elsewhere, like Mumbai, Chennai, Calcutta. I missed it narrowly, but Bangalore. So all have been, except Delhi. I never got runs. Delhi, I don't know somehow. Though the wicket was so batting friendly, but somehow I just couldn't take off there.
Okay, but that those were the days when smaller cities also hosted test matches, and then we saw big test centers taking over. Now it's again going back to those smaller centers like Indore, Ranchi. So why this change? How do you see this? I mean, it was in smaller centers, went to bigger centers, again going back to for the crowd participation.
See, the cricket has changed in the Nil from time to time. Our time or before our time, my father was captain. But
Yeah.
touch wood, he's still alive. So he tells me stories as to what kind of cricket they played, what kind of facilities they had. Then came our era in the 70s, then 80s, 90s, 2000. See, in between what happened was they were sticking to big cities, big centers because the facilities were there. But thanks to BCCI, I think they have done a great job over the years, and they have distributed this money to all over India, the associations. In turn, the associations have percolated that money that has gone to districts. And as a result, all the facilities, even in districts and smaller places, have really improved. They are as good as any other big centers. And that's why you see a lot of cricket going into these smaller cities, and which is a very good thing, I suppose, because you see a lot of cricketers playing for India are now coming from smaller places, smaller cities.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
Look at MS Dhoni. And look at MS Dhoni, meaning who heard of him? We didn't know. From nowhere he came and, well, he took over Indian cricket completely.
And then you see a stadium in Ahmedabad, the way it's coming along, more than 1 lakh capacity stadium. So looking forward to see the first cricket match happening there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I haven't seen it yet. I'm also trying to go, but under the circumstances, the way things are going, it's best not to go there just now.
Yeah.
But surely it would be a great experience because you're talking about 110,000 people, official capacity. Like Calcutta, I remember, they had 100,000 official capacity, but the police and the officials and the staff and so on must be 125, 130.
So, but this set of players have their challenges, but your challenges were, I think it's much stiffer in terms of playing without a helmet against those ferocious West Indies pace attack, hanging in there. Probably wickets started getting covered right during your time. Before that, it was not covered, uncovered wickets. So those challenges were different.
Yeah, that's right. Challenges, they're big time challenges. But I'll tell you, today we think of these challenges for simple reason because things are available. There are better equipment, there are helmets, there are protective gear. We never had that, so we didn't have to think about it as a challenge to go and face fast bowlers. It was very natural that this is what you have. A cricket shoe would weigh probably 1 kg or 1.5 kg. My pads would weigh that much. Yeah, my bat were, they were like what you would wash clothes with.
Yeah.
That was the quality of things then.
Yeah.
But then that is what was available, so you never thought of it. But of course, with those things, I can tell you that we needed a lot more concentration, a lot more determination, a lot more patience to stay there longer. Because I know, when I got hit by Michael Holding in West Indies 76, in the Nil, I am telling you, you blink at the wrong time and your history, you're gone. Absolutely. There's no choice. But today, helmet, chest guard, arm guard, this, thigh pad and everything, you don't have to just stand there, take your stance and stand there and tell him, bowl. I will not do anything. You will still not get hurt. So that makes a big difference that when you know that you're not going to get hurt seriously, then you tend to relax, You don't concentrate 110%.
Yeah.
You probably concentrate 99%.
99%.
That's a big difference between then and now. And a lot of people, talk about Gavaskar compared to Tendulkar compared to Virat Kohli. There's no comparison. Sorry. They are greats of their own time. And don't compare because these are different things altogether, different challenges.
Absolutely. So how did you play those bouncers? I mean, did you move away from the ball? Did you want to attack? Get on top of the ball? What was your tactics those days?
In the day, I think people who probably is watching this show or would watch this show, I can tell you,
Yeah.
I was very scared of fast bowling. Very scared. In school, I used to run away, literally run away. So my coach used to tie my right leg to
Okay.
a bamboo in the nets and let the fast bowler come and bounce at me and bowl fast so that I don't go outside the leg stump or run away.
Oh.
So slowly I developed this, and then of course it came to, you need, see, if you have to be successful at international level,
Yeah.
you need lots of guts, lot of determination,
Yeah.
and of course you need technique.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I had a better technique to face fast bowlers. I was never opening batsman till I played for India.
Yeah.
First time in my life I opened was in West Indies.
Yeah.
When Sunil Gavaskar and Kishan Bedi and Paul Hume did. They came and asked me whether I would open, and I was in two minds. I mean, I've never done it. And a test match with these fast bowlers.
Yeah.
This I'm talking about 1976, not 83, 84.
Yeah. Yeah.
The battery of fast bowlers. But then they said, you've got the best technique. And I did open against in a side game, a first class game against Trinidad Tobago, and I got 100. And there I started opening and never looked back then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you actually epitome of guts. What you need on the cricket field. Anshuman Gaikwad sir, you actually portrayed that. But it was a little surprising other day when we saw Michael Holding, shedding tears after what happened in his childhood, and after so many years, that thing, that child inside him is still there. I mean, it was little surprise for a lot of people, but yeah, I mean, those things never go away, isn't it?
No, they don't. Indranil, I'll tell you, Mikey and me are in touch on day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Whether it's in West Indies, whether it's in US, whether it's in England, we are exchanging our views continuously. Every week, twice in a week, even all this what we saw. And Mikey, as I know, though he was the one who hit me.
Yeah.
But we are the best friends. When I go to England, we always have dinner together, whatever time. He came once for commentary, he came home, had dinner with me. So, he's such a guy that I know. He's very soft-hearted,
yeah,
and very sincere, and very emotional, And he, I'm not surprised that, he had tears in his eyes when talking about it. And that never goes. Because however tough cricketer you may be,
yeah,
but inside, that toughness outside makes inside a lot more softer than what is seen.
Yeah. So, I mean, you are great friends with all the fast bowlers. I mean, you named Michael Holding. Are you in touch with any of the West Indies fast bowlers, besides?
Well, Andy, sometimes
Okay.
I had talked to him.
Okay.
Markham before he expired, yes.
He was a genius.
Viv, yes. Kalicharan, yes. Clive, Lloyd, yes. West Indies, I probably that I never missed, since I started playing for India, I missed so many other series like New Zealand and England and Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Bangladesh wasn't there, but Zimbabwe wasn't there. So, but not West Indies.
Yeah.
Whenever West Indies came, I was there. So I got very close to West Indian players.
Yeah.
And me and Viv are also very close friends.
Yeah.
And we are in touch.
No, I mean, they respect you a lot. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of players, West Indies players, for instance. They respect, they take your name with so much of respect, which is so nice. Sunil Gavaskar, your name. It's a nice feeling as a journalist also when you talk to them.
No, I tell you, that is what these West Indian players look at and probably believe in is, and even the West Indian spectators, they also respect. You know why? Because they have some opposition to their fast bowling, to their strength. With Sunil, myself, Vishy, Mohinder, we all provided them stubbornness to face them and get runs or beat them. What we did in the Port of Spain.
Yeah.
So even spectators like that and they respect you for that. You'll see hundreds of them, thousands of them at the airport when Indian team is reaching West Indies.
Yeah.
And there's one guy who used to be a very popular guy. Must be about in his 50s, 60s. And we call him Rastaman, with a turban and all that, and curly hair. He was the only one who was allowed to be at the airport at the entrance, and from where we used to get into the bus. And he used to climb the bus. Where is Gashiman? So Gauskar is there. He used to sit in front. So I used to sit at the back. Where is Gaiki man? Hey man, how are you? All right. Nice you man. Nice to come have you here. And 1983-84, I remember Vishwanath was not there. Ashok Malhotra was there.
Yeah.
And this guy got so furious. He said, Vishiman, where is my Vishiman? I said, no Vishiman this time. How can you come to West Indies without Vishiman? So this kind of respect they had because we provided that kind of this thing, strength to strength, and we fought with them on the field. So that is what they appreciated also. And so did the cricketers also.
Yeah.